All right, so welcome everyone to tonight's presentation on how to rewire your brain for lasting happiness. My name is Erica Catronio, and I am excited to share with you some really powerful concepts based on the work of Shirzad Chamine in the book Positive Intelligence. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about mental fitness. Mental fitness is about how to grow the three core mental muscles to thrive in challenging times. And it's crucial for achieving lasting happiness. Mental fitness is defined as your capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. This positively impacts your peak performance, peace of mind, wellness, and healthy relationships. So let's start with asking a quick question. How many of you have faced a challenging situation recently? Raise your hands. I know I have. Life can be incredibly stressful. I have my mother-in-law is currently in the hospital. My husband got rear-ended yesterday. So sometimes life just piles things on top of you, and it's really, really hard to not let it overcome you. So when you can control your response to these stressful things, you can prevent them from ruining your day or ruining your life. So let's talk a little bit about the research. Fun stuff, right? The mental fitness program is based on breakthrough original research by Shirzad Chamine, and it incorporates discoveries from neuroscience, positive psychology, cognitive behavioral psychology, and performance science. The research includes, let me get that word out, feedback from hundreds of CEOs and their executive teams, Stanford students, world-class athletes, and over 500,000 participants from 50 different countries. The research is summarized in the New York Times best-selling book, Positive Intelligence. Ooh, that's doing something funny. Positive Intelligence. It really is a great read if you're into any personal development books. All right. So at the root of thousands of colors, there are only three factors: red, blue, and yellow. This is an example of factor analysis. It discovers the root cause, and it results in radical simplification. The results of the factor analysis research for positive intelligence, also known as emotional intelligence, are saboteur interceptor, sage, and self-command. So let's talk a little bit about saboteur interceptor first. The judge. The judge is one of our most common saboteurs. It's everyone's top saboteur, seriously. The judge constantly criticizes you, others, and your circumstances, leading to unnecessary stress or negativity. So the judge is that voice in the back of your head that's telling you that you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not young enough, you're not smart enough, fast enough, whatever. Or it's telling you that I don't like that girl because I don't like her purple hair. So the judge is judging you, it's judging other people, it's judging your circumstances, and it's keeping you stuck and creating negativity in your mind and then in your life. We're going to talk a little bit more about the other saboteurs, but we're just going to kind of go over them very quickly. There's a lot of detailed information about all of the different saboteurs, and I'll tell you how to get to that in a bit. Okay, so first we have the controller. So you may have a really powerful controller saboteur if you feel the need to take charge and control situations. You don't like other people being in control of your situation or any other situation. Next, we have the hyperachiever. You feel validated through constant performance and achievement. Then we have restless. You're constantly seeking new and exciting activities. You're unable to stay in the present. You might flip from one thing to another. You might have trouble sitting still. That is what the restless person may be like. Next, we have the stickler. You insist on perfection, order, and organization. So these are our perfectionists. Next, we have pleasers. Who's a people pleaser? You try to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, or flattering others. Then we have the hypervigilant. You're always anxious and vigilant, waiting for the next shoe to drop. You're focusing on potential dangers and waiting for something to go wrong. Then we have the avoider. You avoid difficult tasks or conflicts, focusing on the positive and pleasant while ignoring what's really going on. Then we have the victim, who feels emotional and temperamental and wants other people to feel sorry for them, but that might not be the active thought process. And last but not least, we have hyper-rational. These are the people that focus on the rational processing of everything, dismissing emotions and feelings. So these are the people who are facts and figures, really organized, like to say, okay, well, it's been 3 months, you should be over your breakup. It's been 6 weeks, you should have met somebody new by now. Ignoring the reality, but focusing on just the rational processing. So the saboteurs live in your brain stem and in your limbic system, which is your primitive brain, your lizard brain, as we like to call it. This is where the part of your brain that was really powerful when we were cavemen. It was good to be vigilant because if you weren't, you were going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. It's good to be judgmental because if you aren't, you're going to let people into your tribe that might be dangerous to you. So back then, it was really important to have these saboteurs to keep us safe. But as we've evolved as a society, our limbic system is really way back there in the past. And it still drags us down in many, many ways. While the sage brain is in the middle prefrontal cortex, easy for me to say, it partakes in your empathy circuitry and parts of the right brain. Your saboteur motivates you through negative emotions. So your saboteur are your feelings of fear, stress, anger, guilt, shame, insecurity. Where your sage motivates you through positive emotions like empathy, curiosity, creativity, passion, and purpose. Your saboteur might generate success, but it won't generate happiness. And your sage can generate your highest level of success and sustained happiness. But are negative emotions good for you? If you read the book, there's a whole section on the lies that your saboteurs tell you. You need me, I'm keeping you safe. You need me, I'm protecting you from other people. You need me, I'm warning you of upcoming danger. Are negative emotions good for you? Is pain good for you? The answer is yes, but only for a second. Staying in negative emotions hurts your ability to see clearly and to respond with empathy, curiosity, creativity, attention. So negative emotions are only helpful for a 1-second alert system. Negative emotions are your saboteurs, which are helpful, but only for a moment. I heard a really powerful metaphor about this before, not specifically related to saboteurs, but related to anxiety. If you're driving down the road and you swerve off the road a little bit, there's a rumble strip there. And that rumble strip is your anxiety or your negative emotions, your saboteurs. It's just warning you that you're straying off course. But you don't want to drive the rest of your trip on the rumble strip. That would be incredibly uncomfortable. And the same thing goes for spending your whole life journey on the rumble strip in your negative emotions, having these things constantly beating you down. All right, so the sage. The sage lives in the region of the brain that is associated with positive emotions, peace, calm, clear-headed focus, creativity, and big picture thinking. The sage powers include empathy, exploration, innovation, navigation, and activation. And again, I'm not going to go too deeply into those, but empathy is understanding and empathizing with oneself and others. Explore, be curious and explore without preconceived notions. Innovate, think creatively and find new solutions and ideas. Navigate, align your actions with a deeper sense of meaning and purpose. And then activate, take a decisive action with clear-headed focus. When you are operating in your saboteur brain, it's really hard to make a decision with clear-headed focus because you're operating from fear or guilt or shame. So take a moment to think about a recent situation where you felt calm and clear-headed. And what's different about that situation compared to a stressful situation? I'm going to tell you a little story about me. So old Erica used to be very easily stressed. I used to be anxious most of the time. And if something bad happened, I would go to the store, I would buy a pack of cigarettes, and I would smoke a bushel of it. Seriously, totally disgusting. I'm not a smoker. But that was my stress response. I was so overstimulated with my fear, guilt, anxiety, shame, whatever it may be, that I had to put my body through this terrible experience of smoking 20 cigarettes to make myself feel better, but I really felt terrible. Another way that I used to cope with stress was binge eating. I remember one time I rear-ended somebody, and on my way home, I bought a box of cosmic brownies and Swiss cake rolls and a jar of frosting, and I ate the entire thing. Gross. Anyway, so but now that I have better control over my saboteur brain, I can handle stressful situations, and I have been through a shit ton of them in the last couple of years. But now I can handle it more appropriately without throwing my whole day off track by saying, okay, this is terrible. What can I do about it? And making clear-headed decisions rather than just living in that chaos of anxiety. So it can be done. So the sage perspective is that every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. And this mindset shift is crucial for maintaining mental fitness. I'm going to tell you a little story to illustrate the sage perspective. It's a Chinese folk tale about a farmer and his stallion. Once upon a time, there was a farmer who had a beautiful and prized stallion. One day, his stallion ran away. His neighbors came to console him, saying, "What bad luck?" The farmer simply replied, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" A few days later, the stallion returned, bringing with it several wild horses. The neighbors came to celebrate and said, "What good luck?" The farmer replied again, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" The next day, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses and was thrown off, breaking his leg. The neighbors came to offer sympathy, saying, "What bad luck?" The farmer responded, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" A week later, the army came to the village to conscript all the young men to fight in a war. But because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was not taken. The neighbors came and said, "What good luck?" And the farmer once again said, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" So that's a really great illustration of the sage perspective. You have to view every situation as an opportunity or a gift rather than immediately judging it as good or bad. About 18 months ago, my entire house was flooded and we lost like every structural thing in the house. Not structural, but all of our floors, our walls had to be repainted. But in a few short weeks, my entire house is going to be completely renovated. So you can look at it as this disaster, which in the moment it was. But we can also look at it as a gift. You know, I now have, or will now have, a beautifully renovated home. A lot of jobs that needed to be done anyway, got done. Lit a fire under us to get stuff done. So, which perspective is true? The saboteur says this is bad, while the sage says this is a gift. Whichever perspective you believe is what becomes true for you. I want to share another really powerful story to illustrate the impact of our thoughts and choices. This is a Native American folk tale about an old Cherokee teaching his grandson about life. An old Cherokee chief was teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One wolf is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, jealousy, and ego." He continued, "The other wolf is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" And the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." Think for a moment about the two wolves that are inside you. Which have you been feeding? And how can you start feeding the good wolf more? So lastly, we have the self-command muscle. I want to take a moment now to do a powerful exercise called a PQ rep. This exercise is going to help you to quiet your saboteurs and activate your sage. We're going to focus on tactile sensations to bring ourselves into the present moment. So to begin, go ahead and find a comfortable position. You should be sitting or standing with your feet on the floor if you can. And then close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. And take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. And then let's do that again. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Now bring your attention to your hands. Rub your thumb against your fingertips slowly and gently. Notice the ridges on your fingertips. Feel the texture and the warmth of your skin. Focus all of your attention on the sensation of your thumb rubbing against your fingertips. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly as you focus on this tactile sensation. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the feeling in your fingertips. Let go of any thoughts about your past or your future. Just stay in this present moment, feeling the touch of your thumb on your fingers. Now move your thumb to another part of your hand, maybe your palm or the back of your hand, and gently rub your thumb against your hand, feeling the different textures. Notice any sensations that arise. Continue to breathe deeply, focusing on this simple touch. If your mind drifts away, that's okay. Just gently guide it back to the feeling of your thumb on your palm. Let go of any judgments or distractions and simply be present with this sensation. Now take another deep breath in and slowly exhale. Bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. So how did that feel? You guys want to pop yourself off mute? You're welcome to. Doing that exercise can really help you to center yourself and shift from saboteur mode to sage mode. And you can do it anytime you need to bring yourself back to the present moment and find calm amidst the chaos. When you're feeling a negative emotion, try to stop and recognize that you're in saboteur mode. Do some PQ reps to quiet the saboteurs and achieve or activate the sage. Then assume the sage perspective and use your sage powers to generate the gift in the situation. Sometimes when I feel that I'm getting nervous or anxious, you can feel it in your body. And when you learn to recognize that, that sensation or that feeling that you're getting, you can interrupt it. And by interrupting that and calming yourself down, doing PQ reps, taking deep breaths, I have a mantra that I kind of chant when I start worrying about something that's out of my control. When you do that, you're shifting from saboteur to sage. So think of a recent problem or challenge that you've had. How can you reframe it as a gift or an opportunity using that sage perspective? Now you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, sure, Erica, easy for you to say. Is it really possible to just shift from saboteur to sage, even in tough situations? The answer is yes, but it takes practice. The speed of which you respond this way and the effectiveness of responding in this way takes deep practice. Lasting positive change requires intense initial practice. It's like training a muscle. You need consistent effort over time. For those of you who don't know, I'm a physical therapist by trade, and I always tell people that you're not going to get stronger by doing your exercises once. So, we did that PQ exercise, and it's really powerful. And if you were really invested in it, you can feel how you come back to your body. You get out of your head, you get out of that stress response, and you can feel how you come back to your body. But it's 20% insight, being able to capture that moment when you go into that saboteur mode, and 80% mental muscle. So strengthening that response, that reaction to recognizing that is really crucial for lasting change. Excuse me. So success requires intense initial practice. Roughly 15 minutes per day, spread out throughout the day, of PQ reps for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, PQ reps don't just have to be what we did together. Eyes closed, feeling your fingertips. There is PQ reps through breathing. You can do it with your eyes open while you're driving. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Maybe placing a hand on your stomach and feeling the air coming in and out of your body. Feeling the air coming in and out of through your body, through your nose. I like to describe PQ reps as micro meditation. So you don't have to sit in the lotus position in this calm, perfect environment for 3 hours thinking of absolutely nothing. You can do a quick 2-minute practice like we did, or a 10-second practice where you just get in your body and you feel the weight of your body on your seat. You feel the pressure of the back of the seat against your back. You feel the temperature of the air. You can listen to what is the closest sound you hear, what is the furthest sound you hear. So there are many different ways to do PQ reps, and I'm sure if you hop on YouTube, you can find several different examples. But doing these small practices throughout the day for 6 to 8 weeks under MRI has actually been shown to create new neural pathways in your brain. You're literally changing the chemistry and the makeup of your brain when you shift the way you address certain situations. Really powerful. And I can tell you, I was first introduced to this concept about 6 years ago. And in doing this practice, not even religiously, as it were, for those 6 years until I was reintroduced to this recently, I have found that grounding, that peace, that ability to handle situations more level-headedly. So it's really pretty amazing how something so simple can be so effective in changing not just the way you think and the way you feel, but how you respond to the world around you. So there is an assessment that you can take that will tell you which saboteurs are in control of your life. So this is just an example that this particular person had the controller as their primary saboteur, followed by the avoider and hypervigilant. Generally speaking, in coaching practice, we focus on the top 3 saboteurs. The judge is everybody's top saboteur. It's unavoidable. The judge is the judge. But your top 3 out of the rest of the 9 saboteurs will be listed there. There's also a page where it takes you through what your actual score is and then gives you the characteristics. So this one, for instance, the stickler. Your characteristics are you are punctual, easy for me to say, methodical, you're a perfectionist, you can be irritable, tense, opinionated, sarcastic. You're highly critical of yourself and others. There's the judge coming out a little bit. You have a strong need for self-control and self-restraint. And you work overtime to make up for others' sloppiness and laziness. And you're highly sensitive to criticism. I am so some of the common thoughts that people who are sticklers may have is right is wrong and right is right and wrong is wrong. I know the right way. If you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. Others too often have too lax of standards. I need to be more organized and methodical than others to get things done. And I hate mistakes. So I'm sure some of you are sitting there and you're like, yep, that's me. Totally me. I have a lot of these myself. But what's really great about this assessment is it goes through each of them. So it's going to tell you what your top 3 are. And it's going to go through the characteristics and the thoughts of each of your top saboteurs. And what's really interesting about this, like, I know I'm a stickler, but when you recognize those thoughts and those characteristics, you can interrupt them more easily. So when you have it written out in front of you saying, this is what your saboteur is doing, this is what your saboteur is saying, then you're more easily able to say, oh, that was my judge. I do that a lot. I go, oh, that's my judge talking. Got to shut him up, and you can stop it. So that self-intercept muscle is one of those 3 core muscles. And being able to stop those thoughts is really important to being able to build your self-command. So imagine yourself able to remain calm, clear-headed, stress-free, and positive, even in the midst of handling work and life's greatest challenges. What becomes possible for you in achievement, in peace of mind, wellness, in your relationships? So make a commitment right now to boost your mental fitness. Whether you do it with me or on your own, it's so important. So some long-term applications for, I need to move things around because it's blocking my view. Long-term applications for work and life. You can identify the saboteurs that are holding you back. So take the free saboteur assessment. Let me do that right now before I forget. I'm going to drop that in the chat so you can take that link, and don't take it right now because you need to pay attention, but no, just kidding. But go and take your saboteur assessment and see who your top saboteurs are. You can increase your wellness and reduce stress, build a foundation for mental fitness, strengthen critical mental muscles, This is like a tongue twister today, guys. Grow healthy relationships, improve your performance and productivity, learn better conflict management tools. And then, as I said, there is measurable progress. The brain is rewiring itself when you're doing these things. And it can be seen on MRI in 8 weeks, which maybe it's just the nerd in me, but I think that is just so cool that you can actually, like, you have the power to change your life by changing your mind. And for those of you who have followed me for any length of time, you know, I often say that happiness is a choice. And by choosing to change these things in your life, that is how you choose happiness. You choose to use your sage muscles to look at things as a gift, to look at things with innovation and creativity. And, you know, you have the power to choose everything. All right, I get all excited about that. All right, so there is a positive intelligence program. I'm going to be launching one. It is a 6-week program. It is app supported, and it includes a free one-on-one onboarding call, 6 weeks long. There is a 1-hour video that Shirzad puts out every week, and then a 15-minute daily practice. What's really cool about this is that there's an app, and as part of the app, you get a little reminder like, hey, it's been a little while since you've done a PQ rep. Do you want to sit in the PQ gym with us and do a rep? So there's a whole PQ gym that's filled with guided PQ reps to help you to maintain that and build those muscles. So 15 minutes a day of practice on the app to accumulate those muscles, build those muscles. You also get access to the book. There is an audio book, which is included as part of the app. And then a weekly 60-minute small group coaching call. So this program is limited to 5 people at a time, and we've already sold 1 spot. So there are only 4 slots left for this. The investment is 8 weekly payments of $124, which equals 1 easy payment if you prefer of $9.97. And I'm breaking the rules here because I'm going to give you guys for 3 days only. So 72 hours from now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 9:41 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. I am dropping the price to $80 per week for 8 weeks, or $640 if you pay in full. So basically, if you think that this is something that will help you get a hold of your emotions and get control of your emotions and choose happiness, it's a great opportunity for you to build those muscles and build it with support and community. Does anyone have any questions for me on anything at all? Feel free to take yourself off mute. Anything about the book or the program or anything I talked about?
Erica, I wanted to just clarify what you showed in that diagram of the 20%. You had a different name. I labeled it awareness. Mm-hmm. And yep. 80% mental muscle.
Yep.
The awareness portion is really just, or the insight is, right, you recognize it, right? You identify what those right. what that characteristic is. Mm-hmm. And the mental muscle part is basically changing the story that you're right. telling yourself at that moment.
Yeah.
So the ability to not only recognize it, but your ability to even change the thought that's going on in your mind and it like stick and be successful. Like you really believe it too, right?
Right. So like that insight piece, that 20% is being able to recognize like, that's my judge saying this. And being able to recognize like, I'm feeling really anxious. which saboteur is acting up.
Mhm.
You know, so, you know,
Which little guy on the shoulder?
I know, that's how I like to think of it. Like, that's how I describe it to people. I'm like, there are these 10 little guys and they're in your head and they're screwing with your life and they're
Yeah.
telling you all these things that just aren't true, you know? Um, so I think a big part of it, and I'm going to rewind a little bit. I think that the insight is there should be another little like sliver in there,
Mhm.
because I think there's a big portion of people who don't understand that they are able to change things.
Yeah.
Well, this is the way I am. This is the way I've always been. This is the way I'm always going to be. Or
Yeah.
this is the way my life has always been. This is the way my life is always going to be. And that's not true, you know, but there are a lot of people who are operating in a world where it is what it is. And you don't have that power. So I think that overall, there's that insight. You need to
Mhm.
have that ability to understand that there is something more, there is something stronger, there's something more powerful, and there's something greater that you can achieve. So I think
Mhm.
that's a big part of it too. But in this particular instance, they're talking about your insight, your ability to recognize that, you know, you have saboteurs. They're, you know, they're changing the way that you think about the world. Um, and then that 80% mental muscle is working on it,
Mhm.
okay? Shifting that, is it bad or is it good?
Mhm.
Seeing the gift in situations and
Mhm.
actually practicing that is how you build that mental muscle and doing those
Yeah.
reps. So I think I
I think that's the way I heard it described. I can't remember the guy's name that talks about the neuroplasticity and stuff, but he basically explains it's not that you don't ever have bad moments, you don't ever have negative thoughts.
right,
It the time between your response to it,
right,
you know, is the determine it is the key, right? So you're
right,
more aware you become of it, the more you practice this muscle, the quicker or the shorter time span you're closing the gap,
right, right.
your ability to respond in a pot in your right one, the sage, not the other.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So, you know, you can, some people respond to negative situations and it affects them for days and weeks. And if you can look at the situation and you can accept it for what it is, whether it be good or bad. And, you know, I think to a certain degree, it lets you step outside of the situation
Mm,
where, you know, if you're, you know, so yesterday my husband got rear-ended. He sent me a text message. I just got rear-ended. And the old me like would have been like, oh my God, what are we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do about that? What are we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do about that? You know, we just had another car accident like 8 months ago. We lost our other car. Like, so, you know, my thoughts would be spinning, my body would be tense, I'd feel it in my stomach, I'd feel it in my heart. And, you know, that's how most people respond to stressful situations. That's a normal response for a lot of people. But being able to read that text message and say, okay, you know, you got in an accident. Are you okay? Okay. Is the car total? You know, being able to think through things in a focused and clear manner and not letting the emotion, um, you know, pardon my French, but the emotional shitstorm, you know, you don't get caught up in it and
yeah.
you're able to compartmentalize and, you know, yeah, it's really crappy that our car is, you know, our second car in 8 months is probably totaled. But, you know, it could have been worse. We could have just sunk the $2,000 worth of work into it that it needed. He could have been hurt. One of the kids could have been driving. It could have been anything. So I don't know if I've answered your question or I'm just
Yeah. Well, even with your story, with that story, it makes me, the idea of what you said, the thoughts were of the sage are, instead of panic, you immediately go to curiosity. Interesting. I wonder what the purpose is of this happening to us so close together, 8 months apart. I wonder what the lesson is here. I wonder what is going to be shown here rather than that panic, scarcity, fear mindset.
Right. Yeah. And it's like I am by no means like a PQ like guru. I'm not levitating over here.
Yeah.
But you can feel a shift when you're just that recognition. And it's funny because I really do like go throughout my day and I like think something negative about myself, or maybe like I see somebody at Walmart in their pajamas and I'm like, that's my judge. That's my judge. Shut up, judge. We don't need you here. So it's just it's just really cool. It's a really cool experience.
Like I said, just being able to recognize that immediately, that's what that is.
Yeah. And that's 20% of it is that insight, being able to recognize, the bathroom isn't clean. I told the kids to clean it. That's my stickler. Like they didn't clean it well enough. Like, why is this bothering me? Does it really matter? Like I'm just gonna ask them to go and fix it, instead of like getting all angry and like having these arguments in my head and things that I would have done before. So
right.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions, or Maria, any other things popping up for you?
Yeah, the other thing I was just going to say was, it's pretty shocking to see that just for 15 minutes a day for 6 to 8 weeks that you can like change this whole narrative going on in your head.
I know,
right?
It's amazing. Yeah.
That actually gives me hope. And I like the suggestion that you gave of breaking it down those 15 minutes, because I feel like, that's part of that rewiring of our brain that we have to multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Like multiple times a day, even if you're in that habit of saying of affirmations and things like that, to try to help you stay in the right mind frame.
Right.
The right saboteur, what are they called?
The saboteurs. Yeah.
Saboteur. Okay, so the saboteur is either
they're sabotaging your thoughts.
The sage or the control. Okay, yeah. What was I saying? Sorry. It just is crazy that you can give more power to the right one in such a short amount of time. With consistency and discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what's really cool about like I'm a busy person, like I work full time, I coach full time at the same time, and it's I'm always running around, and my saboteurs, when I first started this, were saying, you don't have time for this. Like, but you do. You can sit for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
Pull into a parking lot, sit there for 2 minutes, do it while you're brushing your teeth. My friend Guido, we kind of did this together. I don't know if you know Katie and Guido, but we did it. We went through the program together, and Guido was like, I was in the airport the other day and I was doing them walking. Like you can do walking PQ reps, and it's just really cool, and the app makes it so accessible, and it's just at your fingertips, and you get a reminder, and you can do it on your own. You can just set a reminder for every 3 hours, do some PQ reps, and just focus on physical sensation or visual sensation or auditory sensation.
it's just so interesting how we see people who are disciplined to get in the gym every so many days, right? Or so
Right.
so many times a week, and how you can see the difference in a disciplined person who does that. You see it in the physical, right? So being that type of disciplinary in your mind, your mental strength, it's the same concept. Like
Yeah.
you have to discipline yourself just like you would discipline yourself to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Yeah.
like you're disciplined to a certain routine, you have to, like, you have to make it a habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't do it once and be all better. It has
Right.
to
Right.
be something that you can stick to, and you can um apply and remind yourself. I the first time I was introduced to Shirzad, I was actually at a conference and he spoke, and I read the book, and I saw him speak, and I took the saboteur assessment, and even just that little bit, like being able to take away that little bit was not enough, but it sparked that awareness, and things like this, not to toot my own horn, but like personal development, like attending webinars and reading different books, and taking different classes. It really opens up that, like as I was saying, that greater level of insight. Like, you can be going through shit, you can be poor, you can be homeless, you can be a drug addict, and you can come out of it, and you can, if you it all it takes is just a choice to change, and recognizing that you can change. And I catch a lot of flack in a lot of different groups, because people are like, oh, people don't change, people don't change, people don't change. And I'm like, people do change.
Right.
Make a choice to change. Nobody's going to change because you tell them to. But if people recognize they have that insight, and they have um that awakening, uh and they see the error of their ways, or how their behavior is no longer serving them, they can change, and
Yeah.
totally make that decision. So,
You just helped me realize another gratitude for my job that supplements my income, which is rideshare.
right.
Because I am exposed every single day to what you're talking about. I see the two different sides of people. I pick up homeless all the time.
Yeah.
You can pick up one who has that victim mindset, and they're stuck, and they're never gonna. It's nothing.
Mhm.
A certain amount of resources, just enough is not enough.
Yeah.
And the person who's in the same condition but a completely different mindset,
Hmm.
and you can feel by the words they say that come out of their mouth, they are going to achieve what they're saying, because you just can't fake that.
Right.
Like, you can, it's just teaching me now how I can recognize what
Yeah.
saboteur person is acting in, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah. it's,
cool.
it's really funny. I was talking with my coach the other day, one of my many coaches, and I was like, did you take the assessment? And she was like, yep. And I was like, I bet you're restless. And I don't remember what else they were, but she was like, did you get an email of my results? I was like, no, I'm just guessing. Just like, you're spot on. So
Because you sense her energy all the time.
yeah, and you can recognize, like, when you see other people's behaviors, like how many people are in the victim mindset. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's other people's fault. It's rich people. I'm never going to be successful because of rich people, and
Yeah.
um, so
Yeah.
I get excited about it. So I'm
I
sorry.
know. I am too. I'm like, good stuff, good stuff.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so I won't keep you guys all terribly long. Maria and I can talk for hours, but if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, reach out. I will be emailing the recording out to anybody who registered for Zoom, which if you are here, you did. And yeah, So I hope to hear from you guys soon. See you soon. Maria, we should chat soon.
I know, this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
We
thank you guys so much.
See ya.
Bye.